Amy, let me tell you about a magical place that is so exactly designed to be enclosed space, year-round fun for the whole family that I bet you already know what I'm going to say before I even say the name. Let's say it together on 3. 1, 2, 3. Great Wolf Lodge. You got it, Amy.
My kids loved Great Wolf Lodge when we went. You probably already know that it has a huge indoor water park with a wave pool, lazy river, a bunch of massive water slides. But then your pack can hit the other attractions because, wait, there's more.
Great Wolf Lodge has adventure-packed attractions like Magi Quest, a live-action game kids can play throughout the lodge, plus the Northern Lights Arcade. Spent some quality time there, so your kid who loves the lazy river and your kid who loves fantasy games will both have a great time.
Great Wolf Lodge also offers great dining options and complimentary daily events like nightly dance parties, all under one roof. Unpack the car once and you're settled in to have fun. And with 22 lodges across the country, you're always a short drive away from adventure.
We've both had such great times at Great Wolf Lodge, so bring your pack together at a lodge near you. Learn more at greatwolf.com and strengthen the pack. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Fresh Take from What Fresh Hell, Laughing in the Face of Motherhood. This is Margaret.
And this is Amy. And today we're talking to Dr. Abby Medcalf. She is the author of the #1 Amazon bestseller, Be Happily Married, Even If Your Partner Won't Do a Thing, and the host of the Relationships Made Easy podcast. Abby is a psychologist who has helped thousands think differently so they can create connection, ease, and joy in their relationships using her sense of humor and her direct, no-nonsense style. Welcome, Abby.
Thank you. I'm very excited to be here. I was fangirling a little. I'm all excited.
It was mutual fangirling.
That's the best.
So you're here to tell us the real reason that relationships fail. Should we guess first what we think it is?
Yeah, people always guess. Guess. I love that. Well, men, that's everyone's #1 guess.
Having them.
I'm going to guess fighting over roles. That's what I'm going to guess.
I'm going to guess like losing touch with the reason you got married in the first place or are together in the first place.
Those are good.
Losing the sense of romance. I mean, you shouldn't do either of those things, right?
Yeah, right.
Both of those are problems we get.
They're also problems.
Those reasons are absolutely there. And to me, they're a secondary reason. And the real reason that relationships fail is competition, which we end up keeping score. And especially as parents, I mean, I think it really keys in them because it's, I'm taking Sophie to softball practice on Tuesday. So you have to take Jack to, his piano lesson on Friday. I'm going out with my friends on Wednesday. So you can go out with your friends. We tit for tat everything and we look at each other. We miss the point that we're a shared battery and that we're the same team. So if I'm draining my partner, I'm draining myself. And it's very common, of course, in our relationships that when something has to happen in the house and I can't get to it, I look to my partner. I'm like, you need to do it then. And that's the problem because our partners are drained too. I know that they don't always look it because we as women, I'm going to talk about heterosexual relationships for a moment. I mean, although I work with a lot of gay couples, so it really is very true in all relationships, but women can look at men as not, doing as much as women. And we know they don't. I mean, look at the research. The Pew Research Center has tons of this research. Women do, when we get married, we gain about 7 hours of work a week in the household.
I'm surprised it's only 7.
I am too. So men live longer when they're married. We live less long when we're married. So, we die sooner. That's true. And it's what is. So at some point, I'm not saying we don't want men to come to the table and do what they need to do, but at some point we have to know that the emotional bandwidth, like how much people can handle is what they're doing. So when we get to those points where we're always looking for our partner to take something off our plate, I'm always screaming, it's the same plate. Your partner can't take anything off the plate. It's the same plate. So you really have to look at 2 things. One is either taking things off the collective plate that you think have to happen. Like my kids, when they were young, were not in 20 sports and activities and all the things. And my kids probably won't go to Harvard, and there you go. But I'm happy and they're happy. So we chose that a lot, taking things off the plate that didn't have to happen, even though I really, really wanted them to, or adding resources from outside the couple, not between the two of us, to take care of whatever that slack is. At some point, you have to get rid of should and go, what's working and what's not. I'm tired of nagging about this.
Something has to give.
Right?
Yeah.
I always say, do you want to be correct or effective? You got a choice.
And the issue of same team. I mean, Amy says that often on the podcast, that sometimes she and her husband, when they're, in the middle of strife, especially with one of the kids, that they have a phrase that they look at each other and they will say to each other, same team.
Yep.
So she's obviously a parenting and marriage expert. She's doing it perfectly.
Doing it so good.
But how do we lose that? I feel like when we stand at the altar and we're having our dreams, like, of course we're on the same team. We love each other. It's awesome. Where does that get lost for couples? Because it seems like it should be natural, but it's certainly something that falls apart for so many of us.
Yeah. Well, it starts in childhood, we always hear this 50-50 thing. So our whole lives, we're sort of getting ready for this. And we grew up usually watching our parents take opposite roles. I grew up in a time when, my mother did work, but she was a school teacher, one of the acceptable jobs at the time. But there was definitely a demarcation of where, and my dad was relatively involved, but, he was a chef. He was gone most of the time. He was working weird hours and gone. So, we had those gender roles pretty clear, and every TV show and every movie and, everything else just sort of, supported that there's supposed to be kind of this 50-50 thing. It really is this sort of separation right away, just from that mindset. So when we come into the marriage, and a lot of times or the relationship, and a lot of times we haven't talked about these things before. I just had this the other day with a couple. He has debt, credit card debt, coming into the relationship. And she said, well, he has to pay that off. That's not my debt. He's got to pay that off, right? That's part of what he has to figure out. And I was like, no. Like, look at that separation already. Are you going to have different lifestyles at home? Is he not going to be able to buy a shirt because he's paying off something? Like, you're ready to have kids and share a life and buy a house, and it's his debt? Like, what are we doing? But that seems really natural to most people. Like, they hadn't even thought, they argued with me about it. And I was like, this is going to get underneath. If you're really committing and we're like all in, what are you doing?
It seems to me that the traditional sort of breakdown is less 50-50, at least in my house growing up, and in my house today to a large extent, than like inside, outside. If it happens outside,
right.
If it's the car, if it's a leaf blower, if it's a grill, if it's something that has an engine or has fire, that's my spouse. He's all over that. If it's literally anything to do with the kids or the house or the food or inside the house, it's me. And that's not 50-50, right? That's a traditional breakdown, but I didn't really go into raising a family thinking that it was going to be 50-50, and it isn't. We just got home from a vacation last night. We were away for a week, and we were away for a week with one of our kids, and one of our kids was actually home because I have big kids. Anyway, as soon as we get home, what always happens is the same thing. My spouse goes upstairs and unpacks his suitcase while I greet the dog who's frantic after a week, and then answer the 100 questions of the kid, and then make sure that the laptop is being charged for tomorrow and the medicine isn't laid out, and, and setting up
unpack all the suitcases, including the kids, right?
Right.
The emotional suitcases. Yeah.
The emotional suitcase. Exactly. And like, where does this laundry go, Mom? And so my suitcase is still sitting in my bedroom. I haven't touched it yet, even though we got home last night, because that's where we settle. We just go to our separate spheres. And I don't say to him like, hey, you have to do this. He did come down at one point and say like, anything else that needs to be done? I'm like, no, not now. I'm going to bed. But there is that expectation. I don't follow him around keeping score and saying, now the next time we come home, I'm going to go upstairs and unpack. I don't do that, but I do, take it all on and do more of it. And then of course, carry a tiny little bit of resentment for next time. So just a little teeny bit.
Yeah.
So can we take a break? When we come back, talk about why that might also be bad?
Absolutely.
For some of us, tax season is one of the only times that we look at our finances fully. And once it's over, well, that was terrible. And it is completely understandable not to want to think about it for another whole year. But using Monarch and being intentional with your finances in an ongoing way helps you see where your money is going and how you can put your refund to best use.
We are here to tell you, simplify your finances with Monarch. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool designed to make your life easier. It brings your entire financial life, budgeting, accounts and investments, net worth, and future planning together in one dashboard on your phone or laptop.
Feel aware and in control of your finances this tax season and get 50% off your Monarch subscription with code FRESH.
As you know, my husband and I are preparing to send, 3 kids off to college, and I cannot tell you how helpful Monarch has been in showing us our full financial picture, helping us to track our spending and reach important savings milestones. Our weekly meeting, Amy, it's now run by Monarch.
Love it. Achieve your financial goals for good with Monarch, the all-in-one tool that makes money management simple.
Use code FRESH at monarch.com for half off your first year. That's 50% off at monarch.com, code FRESH.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
So we're back. We're talking to relationship expert, Dr. Abby Medcalf. So Abby, before the break, we were talking about like score settling and how I took them last week, so you have to take them this week, how that's not right. And in my house, it's more of the like, I do always do more. I always have done more. And I get prickly and annoyed about it and save that for, once a year or so, right?
Unpack that suitcase.
To unleash.
Yeah. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with doing it that way? I'm sure that's not ideal either.
Release the Kraken once a year. Yeah, we've all been there.
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing that's also part of this is the emotional labor. And that is what women carry the vast majority of. So, I had a couple I was working with a few weeks ago, and the man said, well, I get up in the night with our kids. If somebody's sick, I get up too. And I said, yeah. And was there Tylenol? Was there a thermometer? Did you know the name of the doctor? Was there toilet paper? Was there did you call into school the next day and let them know? Did you track where the work was after they missed school? Did you, and I'm listing and he's blanching. And it's like, yeah, that's all the stuff we carry. That's the emotional labor of the house. That's all the pieces and greeting the dog, that's sort of emotional stuff. And what happens is that piece takes up a lot of our bandwidth, right? That takes up a lot of our bandwidth because we're thinking all the time of all the things. And that is where resentment can set in because again, men, and I don't want to give too broad a brushstroke, but I'm going to give one, don't really think of this stuff. That's not, but I will also say that it's just not as important to them. Like, if I would go away on a business trip and I would cook really healthy meals and I would pack them, right? And I'd have them in the freezer and you can just pop them in and da-da-da-da. And he would have just assumed to order Domino's pizza every night. So I'm doing a lot of this stuff for me. I feel better doing these things, but then I'm annoyed or resentful that my partner, my husband, doesn't want to do them. It's that great line from that Vince Vaughn, Jennifer Aniston movie, I want you to want to do the dishes, right? Like they don't want to. Nobody does. I don't want to. So there's a place where when I really encourage people to have a different attitude, and that is of service. And it's not just service to the family, it's service to myself. So I'll give you a great example. Gary, my man, when he shaves, there's whiskers in the sink.
We're familiar. Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, okay. And I've said things like, could you not leave whiskers in the sink, please? It's kind of gross, right? With the shaving cream. It's just beautiful and so sexy. And he does. He rinses out the sink now, right? But when I get to the sink to brush my teeth, are there whiskers? Always, right? There's always he misses some. And so I used to get really upset about this. It was like, I've asked you, come on, it's important, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And we give all kinds of meaning to this stuff. It means he thinks I'm his maid. It means he doesn't love me. It means he doesn't respect me. He doesn't appreciate me, which is all BS. That's not true. at all. It means that men don't see things the way women do, or that your man doesn't see it the way you do. And it doesn't mean I'm right because I like a cleaner sink. I got to get over that, that my way is the right way. Well, clean sink, of course that's the right way. Not necessarily. And here's the best part. I timed how long it took for me to rinse the rest of the whiskers out of the sink.
Right.
And I wanted it to be 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That's what I wanted the number to be. But the actual average number for the week was 3 seconds. And I am complaining and moaning to this person about 3 seconds. I realized that he is rinsing it because he does love me and care, and he heard what I was saying. And, he just can't find a place in his world where that is so important that it's perfect, right? There's other things that are important to him. And so he rinsed, and then I take this 3 seconds as a service to myself because this is the way I like it. And, I like the sink this way. How nice of Gary to have done most of it. I'm going to rinse this last bit, which took me 3 seconds. I always say if you're complaining to your partner about something you could hire someone for, then you're complaining about the wrong things. I didn't get married because, Gary mows the lawn well. Like that was never one of my list of things I had to happen, right? So you have to sort of get over that.
It's predicated to some degree, and we've talked about this before, and I think it can be a little bit complicated, on an understanding that your partner actually has your best interests at heart. And I think that if you can stay in that place, but that what bleeds into this sometimes is that maybe sometimes people have partners that maybe don't really care, maybe are being passive aggressive, maybe are bringing whatever their angry issue is. That's right. Because I've had this a lot with my husband. And I will say for him, he is extraordinarily coachable. We've talked early on about some of the gifts that I received from my husband early on that were misguided, to say it kindly, but that I was able to sit down and talk to him and say, I buy gifts for 20 people and you buy gifts for me. And so I don't want my gift to feel like an afterthought. I want you to set a reminder on your phone a month before and put time and effort into it. Here are 3 people who you can call: my sister, my aunt, whoever it is. Like, I'm willing to walk you through the steps of making this better. But my husband he actually really wants to please me. I mean, he always says, like, the worst thing in the world is to see your face fall when I give you something bad. He doesn't want that experience.
Right.
So what's the role in terms of understanding that, like that foundation that takes you to a place where you can say, I'm going to rinse the whiskers out and understand that he's really doing his best and he really does love me?
Mm-hmm. Again, I think they're 2 separate things. So if my partner is passive aggressive, let's say, and left the whiskers in the sink on purpose, oh, wow, poor baby. Really? This is the way you feel powerful, leaving whiskers in a sink? I feel compassion for you. I feel like we have a lot to talk about that has nothing to do with whiskers. I feel like I want to talk to you about how you best feel loved and supported by me. Love is always the answer, leaning in with love, leaning in with compassion, leaning in with kindness. Because, I've been passive aggressive before. I'm sure you guys haven't because you're fabulous.
I have occasionally been passive aggressive. It's true.
It's because I was hurting. It's not because I'm evil. There's this 1% of true narcissists, true evil people. I get it. But the vast majority, the overwhelming majority, we are married, if it's men, to men who want to please us. They do. They hate when we're upset. They can't stand it.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on. They just really don't even know how to approach this issue. And what does happen is that they're often getting us or after them for so many things they're not doing right that they could, like this. Gary would be like, I rinse out the sink and it's not even good enough.
I did. Right.
Nothing I do is good enough. I did the kitchen and nothing's good enough. She pointed out the pan I missed, or you didn't sweep the floor, or you didn't. And I usually tell women in these instances, I'm like, give it a grade. That's what I did with the sink. I thought, what is the grade I would give this, right? If I was a teacher and you did this and you handed in this assignment, you'd probably get a B+. You did most of it. So I'm really complaining and I'm upset and not feeling love. Like, I need to look at me. I take this as a sign that this person doesn't love me when he gave me this B+ sink.
I've been grading things as a pass fail. I'm realizing, like, we have a joke around here that you get a 0. Like, if you put the eggy pan in the sink to soak, quote unquote, soak, and it's still there 24 hours later. Like, there are no B's. That's a 0. You get a 0 or 100. But I need to give that maybe a 75.
Amy, you're going to lose your catchphrase if you're not careful. You get a 0.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been very binary about it. But what do I get out of that except the grim satisfaction that I'm being taken advantage of yet again, right? That's cold comfort.
Oh, it's like such an icky way to be in our relationships that we're worried. And that's what I hear from people. They go, well, what if he takes advantage of me? It's like, really? That's what you're worried about? This person that you pledged your life to, this person you had children with and bought a house and did all these things? What are you talking about? Do you really think, really, that he's up at night going, ooh, how can I get over tomorrow? I know what I'm going to do. I hate her. Can't wait to get I'm going to leave the up in the sink. I know it drives her crazy. We assign all this meaning. We label it. We decide all these things when nothing could be. I talk to men a lot. I mean, a lot. And they just don't mean. Again, occasionally I hit a narcissist or somebody, but it's so rare. They really didn't see that they cleaned the bathroom and the garbage can was full and they didn't empty it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, we do. Yes. Familiar.
And what I try to remind people is that there's a thing in relationships, there's momentum. And if you think of, those little, I don't know if they still have them on the playground. In my day, they did. Those little carousel things with the bars on them and you'd spin really fast on it. Do you know what I'm talking about? You'd like run next to it and you'd jump on, right?
Yes.
I can't believe those were ever a thing, but yes, I remember them well.
Go flinging off.
I know, right? So, and if you remember trying to jump on when it was spinning really fast, what would happen to you?
Oh,
it wasn't pretty. I broke an arm once doing this. Yeah, the metal, and there was hard playgrounds in my day, and you'd get your butt kicked. This is us and our partners all day. We are each spinning at a certain kind of momentum, and we're expecting other people to be at our momentum all the time. And they're not. And that's the famous thing of like, you walk into the room maybe and your partner's watching TV or on his computer and you say, hey, can you take out the garbage later? And he goes, uh-huh. And it never happens because you didn't have his attention. He was spinning really slow and you were spinning like this and he never got on. And then later, again, we're like, I asked you, you said, yeah, and we're just losing it over this thing. And again, we have to understand that, and this is true for our children too, by the way, we have to slow our momentum enough to allow people on the carousel with us.
That's good. Yeah.
If we want to play, we got to slow down. And I know we're like doing if you want the top of the crazy town heap, that's where I live. And so I am like going at a ridiculous pace all the time. And yeah, most people are watching me spin by and really like, I'm not playing. Like, I'm not even getting on. And then we take that as dispassion or not loving us or not caring what we care about. And they just don't even know where to enter. They just don't even know how to play with where we are. So we got to slow down the momentum.
I have a tip for that one. When I ask my husband to do stuff and I can see that nobody's home and he's spinning really slowly, I'll say to him, would you just do one thing for me? Set a reminder on your phone, because he lives by his watch and his phone. So then I'll say like, hey, will you remember that you need to set up that thing for Scouts? And he's like, yeah. And I won't walk away until I say, could you just set a quick reminder on your phone? Because then the phone will tell him and I don't have to keep bothering him about it.
I love it.
Isn't that nice? Get out of the middle. I've also told couples it's really helpful to set up a weekly, I call it a couples business meeting. And you keep a Google Doc and you both throw things on there. And once a week you meet, because otherwise it's all week. You're like, could you do this? Could you do this? Oh, we got to call the guy. Oh, we have to do the thing. Oh, because we're holding all that.
Yes.
And men perceive that as a lot of nagging and a lot of which they really hate being told what to do. Men and being told what to do. Again, I say with love to all the men. And I don't enjoy getting told what to do either, but I take it very differently. I don't take it as an assault on my womanhood. And, there's a whole different thing that goes on. So when you have this thing and you just sit every week and go, hey, who's doing this? You also have like a date when it's going to get finished. You have what you said. And in my home, when the thing doesn't happen by the date we had set, I call a guy. I just call a guy. We know that that's what's going to happen. I don't remind him one more time. I don't cajole at the end. I just call the guy and it goes and gets fixed. And I usually hear something like, oh my God, the door, I was going to get to the dog door and fix it. It's like, yeah, we had it on I don't say it angrily. I'm like, oh, remember we had it on the list. It didn't happen. I just called the guy. No sweat. You had a lot on your plate.
I have heard a lot of feedback from our Facebook group in talking about this, and I want to push back on one thing when we come back from this break.
All my kids learned to swim when they were little. It was super important to me that they be confident and safe in the water. There was only one problem with that, taking them to swim lessons. I mean, the pools were freezing. There were always cranky adults doing laps right there. And it was definitely not, for any of us, what you would call fun.
Amy, heard. But now there's Goldfish Swim School. Goldfish takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water.
Every detail at Goldfish is thoughtfully designed to create a golden experience, from shiver-free, warm indoor pools to comfy waiting areas for parents to professionally trained lifeguards on deck.
Goldfish uses an approach called the science of swim play, which combines guided play with proven teaching techniques to help kids learn to swim, build water safety skills, and gain confidence, all at their own pace. Lessons are designed to meet kids exactly where they're at.
If you've been thinking about swim lessons or just wondering where to start, this is a great opportunity. Right now, Goldfish Swim School is offering a waived membership plus your child's first lesson free at participating locations.
Just visit goldfishswimschool.com/free to find a location near you and enroll using promo code FREE.
That's goldfishswimschool.com/free, promo code FREE. My favorite skincare products actually feel more like self-care, like they're so nice to put on and they smell so good that I'm actually happy when I get to that part of my day. And I swear that is how I feel about Osea's anti-aging body balm.
Amy, you are usually the lotions and potions queen on this podcast, but I have to say, hard agree.
Osea's anti-aging body balm is a liquid silk body balm that combines the lasting hydration of a lotion with the firming power of a serum, leaving skin smoother and firmer.
This body balm is clinically tested and designed to deliver visible results you can see and feel.
So we've gotten to use this product for a couple of months now, and I swear I have really noticed firmer and smoother skin, like on the back of my hands. It's like getting a mini spa treatment from head to toe.
Get a spring-worthy glow with clean, clinically tested skincare from Osea. And right now, we have a special discount just for our listeners.
Get 10% off your first order site-wide with code FRESH at OseaMalibu.com.
That's 10% off your first order with code FRESH at OSEAMalibu.com. So I am a big fan of the weekly meeting. My husband and I are big meeters. We have a Google Doc with a to-do list, which is basically something I stole from the way Amy and I work together, that rather than text, did you do it? Did you do it? We have a central doc. We both go, and that's where it is. And so my husband and I have adopted that as well. And it's been really helpful, especially during the pandemic, kind of like, let's stop having 800 conversations about this faucet. And it's like, hey, can you check the doc today? Because you'll see that it's there. Again, it has the other thing from the phone of like, it's not me, it's the doc telling you. But I can hear people thinking to themselves, this all seems like running a business together. It doesn't seem very romantic. We used to have fun, and now we're supposed to spend our days on spreadsheets. What do you say to people who feel resistant to it because it feels very unfun?
It is a business.
Yes.
Your household is absolutely 1,000% a friggin' business, and we are the CEOs of it. Let's be real. And, and that's the problem. We don't want to be the CEOs. We want to, right? We want to co-facilitate that somehow. And if anything, it does the opposite. When you're not like nagging, what your men perceive as nagging all the time, they like us better. They talk nicer to us. They engage us differently. The compassion comes back. The love comes back, because every single day I'm not going, oh, he didn't do this thing. He didn't do this thing. He didn't do this thing. I got to remind him. I'm not doing that anymore. I believe the opposite happens. And the thing is it's a half hour a week. You're sitting, or maybe 45 minutes a week. I tell people not to do long meetings, like try to keep it short, because you're just sort of going over. And you have to have a system for how that happens after, which is why I have if it doesn't happen in 2 weeks, I call a guy and it's just done. And there's no madness about it, though. I get this was just too much. We thought we could do it. We were optimistic about it. It couldn't happen. So that's fine. We got to move on with our lives. So it takes out all the that labeling stuff. To me, it does just the opposite. And not just for me personally. I don't even mean that. I mean, for the literally tens of thousands of people I've worked with, it takes everybody. It's like a revelation. They're like, oh my God, this is so much better.
I want to pivot, Abby, to what happens when you really don't have a partner. You either literally don't have a partner, you're doing this yourself, or you have a partner who really doesn't show up, even when you ask nicely, even when you have a meeting, even when you, right? There are some marriages where that's just the case. And you literally wrote a book for this, how to be happily married, even if your partner really doesn't show up. So I want to talk about some of your approaches for that, because I loved something you say in the book about thinking of your day as being based in apps, like apps on your phone instead of in hours. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Oh, yeah. So our whole happiness, every bit of your happiness is based on your willpower. That's it. Because your ability to resist urges is the core of your happiness. If I want to be more productive, I have to resist the urge to scroll through Facebook, right? If I want to be, thinner, I have to resist the urge to finish the donut. I have everything. If I want a happier relationship, I have to resist the urge to snipe or be passive aggressive, right? Whatever or even in a moment to remind him to do something, because of my anxiety. Resisting urges is the cornerstone of a very happy life. And what happens is that our willpower is an exhaustible resource. You wake up with the most you're going to have, and that's if you've had a good night's sleep, and then you wear it down all day. And the things that eat at your willpower are every decision you make, every one of them. That's why habits are great, or healthy habits are great, because we don't decide, we just do it. Every frustration you have, every negative thought that comes your way, commuting, all that stuff is what wears down your willpower all day. So when you can think of your day instead of like in 24 hours, that's what I say, like that's a lie. Instead, think of it as how much willpower, it's really your bandwidth, your emotional bandwidth, do I have to expend? Because we all know, every single person listening has said, oh, tonight I'm going to go to the gym. I get home from work at this time and then I do this. I'll have 4 hours till I go to bed, or I'm going to work on this project, or I'm going to whatever. And then 6:30 comes. All you want to do is veg out and do nothing. You don't want to go to the gym. You don't want to go do anything. You have hours left in your day. You don't have mind left in your day. And that's what I say all the time. So it's not how many hours are in your day. It's how much mind is in your day. So when you have a lot going on, you have to take that into consideration. So I never again want to hear anyone say we have time for that. It's in the same way when couples come to me for couples therapy. It's one of the first things I'm like, what have you taken off your already full plate? Full plate we have, brimming, falling over. And now I'm adding therapy? And they say to me, oh, well, we got the hour a week or whatever. And I'm like, you have to use your head in this. You've got to have the patience to use the tools, find the kindness, which comes again from our willpower because we feel like we can do it. If you don't have that, if you're already just sticking this on top of everything, and it's really the reason a lot of couples therapy fails. People do it at the very end of the day. They're exhausted. Think of that even. It's not even a priority to do earlier. I won't even take an hour off of work, because it has to be at the very end. We throw it at the very end of our day and expect great results. It's not what's going to happen. We're exhausted. So I don't even see couples past 3:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, you're paying good money to see me. Guess what? You're going to come earlier. You're going to make it a priority. And you know what? I get great results. And I think a lot of it's just from that mind shift of putting it earlier. But when you think about in your relationship, that emotional bandwidth, and that's why I say take things off the plate, because you're already full and you're trying to be kinder or nicer or, do something with your kids. People look at this 24 hours and they're like, oh, I can keep squeezing more in. It doesn't work here. And that's why we get depressed and anxious and upset and all the things. So you have to start looking at your day as how much bandwidth you have, not how much time is in it. No should be a very common word in your vocabulary if you are working on a new habit. And I will say this too. When you create a new habit that's a healthy one, like working out or meditating or something, it adds willpower units to your day. We'll call them units, right? You actually wake up with more willpower when you've slept really well, when you've been meditating, exercising, eating well. You do. What nobody tells you is that when you're creating a new habit, it drains your willpower because it's all new, all these new decisions. And the mistake people make is they take on a lot of new habits at once, like working out and eating perfectly. That's why it fails all the time. Just do one. Just pick one for 3 months. I'm telling you, I have joined countless gyms in my life. I have often been swimming at the YMCA, but I only go twice a year, so it's costing me like $400 for this backstroke. And I'm thinking, this is really not smart. And so once I just did that and didn't touch my food for a while, I work out. I hate it still, but I do it. You know what I mean? I took one at a time. And you have to do that if you're working on your relationship. You got to look at your life. Where's it going to fit? You can't squeeze it in because again, the bandwidth's not there. So you got to look and go, what can I take off the plate while I'm really trying to focus on this thing? And think about it, just for 3 months. So it's not forever.
And are you taking off the plate expectations? Just going back to this person who's like, I wish my partner was more helpful around the house, did respond to my pleasant requests for more support around cleaning up after dinner, whatever it is, you're not getting it. And so if that were me, I'd be here this and be like, I can't take everything off my plate. The whole point is I, work 40 hours a week and then I come home and I do everything around here and my partner won't cooperate. How do I do less? What's the answer to that? Is it the expectation that you're putting down?
Yeah, you do. I mean, you might not have healthy meals every single night. You might order in a little more. If you're lucky enough to have a cleaning person, they might also do the laundry or come twice a week for a while. Again, I usually tell people to try things for 3 months to really go all in. Because I will say this, and I say this in the book too, and this is huge. So our conscious brains process information at a rate of 50 bits per second, while our subconscious or unconscious brains process information at a rate of 11 million bits per second. So your partner doesn't hear what you say, they hear what you mean. So if I'm coming to them and I am full of resentment and upset and anger and passive aggressiveness and everything else, and even though I'm like, hey, babe, could you please take out please, they are picking up on that. 11 million bits, people, they get it. And so what happens is, what I find is that people will try a new tool. They'll go like, okay, I'm going to do this setting intention thing. Abby says it's so great. And they do it for a little bit, but the whole time they're doubting, our problems are really big. This isn't going to work. He's going to go back to the way he was. A leopard doesn't change its spots. So we do this whole thing. And guess what? Our partner is picking up on this energy. And so they don't change because they're kind of like, what's going on over there? They don't say it, but they're waiting for us. Oh, she's being nice now. Let's see how long this lasts. And guess what? After a week, you give up because he didn't change. And he goes, see, I knew it. You can't get invested in the outcome. You have to be invested in your process because I feel better when I'm kinder. I like myself more when I'm compassionate. I like myself more when I'm patient, because we do. We hate when we feel like naggy, yucky women. It's the worst feeling. It's not any of us want or like. So when we start to really act different and just be different, it doesn't matter what they're perceiving. It doesn't matter what they think. It matters what's happening here. And that's how things start to shift and change. And everyone knows this is true because you have talked to somebody and maybe at work who was saying all the right things, but you were the whole time going, they are full of it. You're like, who is that? You could feel how fake they were, even though everything they said was okay. The way they said it was okay, but you picked up. That is your 11 million bits. We call it hunches. We call it gut. You call it whatever you want. That is our 11 million bits. And your partner is picking up on yours. So you've got to get in alignment with just being this way, not for them to change. That's manipulation. Not for them to do something. Again, manipulation, but for you. And I am just telling you, 37 years of doing this and 23 now, I think, of just this, and I will tell you that that's where the miracle happens. That is where people finally feel accepted. Unconditional love is BS. It's unconditional acceptance. That's what makes us feel loved. If we don't feel accepted, we do not feel loved. If I tell my child I love them, but they say they're gay and I say, I don't accept that you're gay, guess what? They're not going to feel loved. It doesn't work that way. And our partners are the same and we're the same. We want to be accepted for who we are. And you got to start somewhere.
I love that. We've been talking to Dr. Abby Medcalf. Abby, tell us where people can find you and find your book.
Everything is on my fabulous website, which just got redone with so many pictures of me that I can't even look at it, but there they are. So, so go look and laugh at me, do your thing, but it's abbymedcalf.com. I'm sure you'll link to it in your notes. And it's it's MED as in Donald. It's Medcalf, not Metcalf, but it's abbymedcalf.com. All my stuff's there. everything. There's a lot of free stuff too. There's a Learned Optimism Jumpstart workshop where you take the test. There's meditation and mindfulness starter kits. They're free. They're really free. I'm not sleazy. You don't have to put in a credit card. There's nothing weird.
Free.
And then I have a weekly Relationships Made Easy where I just send inspiration once a week. I'm not selling anything or doing anything. I'm just trying to keep people on track. So you can sign up there too.
Awesome. Thanks so much for talking to us today. This was a great conversation.
Thanks, Abby.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.